So another miracle that we have is here in America, in California. Miss Daphne Gutierrez, who was suffering from a building pressure in the inner brain cavity,
Hmm.
and it pushed down on her optic nerves. So basically, she was slowly going blind. She went blind in one eye from the issue, and then subsequently lost sight in both eyes.
Yeah.
According to her doctor, Dr. Lynn Noon, and Dr. Corona Huang, um, she was effectively blind. She had a certificate of blindness, which means that she either has greater than 220 vision or a less than 20% field of vision. Um, this was declared on October 17th, 2014 at the Viewfinder Low Vision Resource Center in Mesa, Arizona. So I misspoke. Her family's from California. She's from Arizona.
Gotcha.
Um, okay, so which is actually located on 1830 South Alma School Road. So you can actually look up this place. This place still exists and practices medicine. Her vision further degraded on November 14th, 2014, when
Mhm.
she completely lost vision in both eyes. So she had no vision and no sensation.
Okay.
So you could flick her eye, which you wouldn't feel it. November
Wow.
15th, she had a surgery to alleviate the pressure to no avail and returned home still completely blind. According to Dr. Ann Borick, who looked over her cases, Miss Daphne Gutierrez co- confirmed her diagnosis of what was called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, which is the technical name for the building brain pressure, which has pushed down on her nerves, causing blindness. She was actually confirmed to be blind in both eyes independently, and medicine had failed to help her. Then on January 7th, 2015, she was actually approved to go to a home for the blind, basically because she would have difficulty taking care of her children. She had three
Gotcha.
children, and her husband had to work. And so it was really, this heartbreaking story of this mother, that had to be removed from her own home. Um, she was praying and begging for her sight to get back to her kids. Um, and so her sister brought her over to a showing of the relics of Saint Charbel. She went over there still blind, but praying the entire time. And at 4 a.m., she awoke with a severe pain in her head. She felt a burning um, and in her eyes. And this woke up her husband, and there was a strange smell in the room, as if burning, as if a surgery were performed on her eyes, sort of LASIK or something. Um, and she said, "My eyes are burning." And her husband said, "Well, you have no sensation in your eyes. That's literally impossible." And in her quote, she says, "Well, they're burning, dude." Um, so, uh, so um, she was starting to be able to see shapes and so on. So she went to an ophthalmologist, and they said, "Look, you can see, you have sensation back in your eyes, but you're still technically blind." But within 48 hours, she went to a second ophthalmologist because her sight kept getting more and more clear, and her sight returned to normal. Dr. Borick, who looked over her case, so Ann Borick, she has a full interview on this subject, um, said that was so interesting about this miracle was you had one test that said she's blind, has no sight, no sensation. You have another test that then says, um, so on November 15th, she was confirmed to have no sight, no sensation. January 7th, so that would be 2 weeks later, she has this healing. She starts to get sight back. January 9th, she's completely sighted with 20/20 vision. And so she said, what's interesting about that is the rapid improvement, right? From the time, because we have two different tests, 48 hours apart, that say one says, hey, you can see, but you're still above 220 vision. Within 48 hours, she's at 20/20 vision.
Right.
Um, there's no physical explanation for that, but it's extremely well documented case. And this, happened in 2015. So this is not, an ancient miracle with ancient science or whatever. This is, you know, uh, 7 years ago. So you have kind of two miracles. You have one saying the brain pressure was relieved, okay, So then brain pressure is relieved. We don't know how to explain that, but that happens. 6 months to a year from now, she'll be seeing normally. Oh, she saw normally in 48 hours. That's miracle two. So you have to
Oh, okay.
explain,
So there's two miracles happening here.
right? You have to
Okay.
explain both the rapid recovery and the end of the intracranial hypertension.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and it's not just because there was some delayed effect from the previous surgery.
No, so I would closely associate it with the fact that she went to the St. Charbel thing that day, and then the healing process began the night she returned.
Okay. So,
The timing on that is now they don't see, so they have Dr. Amboric and then a second neuro-ophthalmologist that looked over it, and neither of them could find an explanation as to why it worked out the way it did or the timing.
okay.
What happened.
Okay. So that's really important because they would have asked that question too.
Right.
They would have asked assuming they're in the, these are responsible doctors. They would ask the question, okay, would this have been, is it reasonable to see if this was a delayed effect from what had happened earlier? If it isn't, then and so they must have said something like that because I can't see that not being addressed.
Well, and I think the big thing with the Daphne Gutierrez case too, and there are other ones that have this, is that she is approved for disability and was being moved to a facility for the blind.
Yeah.
So this is not something that doctors reasonably thought could get better, right? So I would find it very hard pressed to make an argument that, well, the surgery might have had a delayed effect if she was approved to go to more or less a hospice for the blind.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess like that. Well, I'm just saying because the doctors confirmed
Right.
that
No, it's
the
all
fact that
bits
they
of
confirmed
evidence.
that it's I want to emphasize that point because there's going to be some people who'd be like, well, they had this surgery and just a lagged effect. And it's like, okay, well, I'm sure you're an expert in the science. I mean,
Right.
because at that point what you're doing is you're doing headcanon. You're like, oh, of course science works that way. And it's like, no, that's not how science works. To me, like that is just so amazing to see halfway around the world, on the other side of the world, a miracle being associated because you said, was it a first class relic?
I don't know the class of the relic. I want to say it was a bone, but I know it was a relic for sure.
Okay, so it's probably either first or second then. But that's phenomenal to me. That is I don't know. I'm probably going to ask you afterwards because that's one of those things I would just love to show. Yeah, here's a modern day miracle. Explain it away, please.
Well, right.